here we go. Another Friday now upon us. Already February. The year is 1/12 of the way over. You were listening pre-show to the Munchkin Minutes over at Majorspoilers.com, one of the many shows that we have in the Major Spoilers Podcast Network. We've got so many shows. Something for everybody. I'm sure if you go over to Majorspoilers.com/podcast, you will find something. This show is being brought to you this week by Major Spoilers VIP and Patreon members from around the world. You can show your support for this show and everything we do by pointing your browser to patreon.com/majorspoilers. Happy Friday to you all. I am Steven Schleicher from Majorspoilers.com. So glad that you are here on our live stream. Twitch was down, so I couldn't send out the alert. Twitch is down. Twitch is down. Everybody's freaking out. Is Twitch down? Seems to be for half the country. Is it Twitch down for you? Maybe it is. Maybe it isn't. I don't know. Social media. Why are you still stuck in 2015 with your Munchkin podcasts? You need to head over to Major Spoilers and check out those podcasts right now. So I hope you're doing well this week. Happy Friday to you, Mark Smith. It has been an interesting week for me, mainly because we weren't able to record 2 shows this week. We did not record the Major Spoilers podcast this week, and we were not able to record a Top 5 episode this week, although we had some banked, so it's fine. Because I had a sick kid. This is one of those things that illnesses are going around, and generally we try to keep our kids healthy. It's not like we are, sending them out into the cold without a coat. It's up to them. They're the ones that take it off after they leave the house. It's one of those things where you get a call in the afternoon, and it's like, hey, your kid has a low-grade fever, complaining of stomach ache and headache. Those are signs of flu. You might want to get your kid to the doctor and have him checked out for flu. My son tells me that there were 7 kids in his class that have been sick. And so I took him to the doctor, was able to get in. This kid has a gag reflex, kind of like mine, man. You can't stick anything too far back in his throat. He just starts, wanting to throw up. So first thing they wanted to do was a strep test. You got to stick that thing in the back of your mouth. So gross, right? And then after about a half-hour struggle with that, came back no strep. Swirl around in the old nose to do a flu swab, no flu. But I got him home, and man, his temperature skyrocketed from the 99 point whatever that they were telling me he had to well over 101. So he's been out of school for a couple of days, and I stayed home with him for a couple of days. But, the Tuesday night, bringing him home, getting him all taken care of, takes a lot out of you. So we weren't able to do a show this week. And it's all funny because I'm teaching a class this semester. I don't know why I'm teaching this class, to be honest with you. I'm teaching a class in I don't know the official title of the class. I can't even remember the official title because it's some long, convoluted gobbledygook. Technology, Innovation, and Entrepreneurial Leadership. Technology, Innovation, and Entrepreneurial Leadership. I know, what does that mean? Oh, well, Stephen, you're an entrepreneur. You are best qualified to teach this class. Okay. And because it's technology, innovation, and entrepreneurial leadership, I'm having the kids read a book right now called How Did We Get to Now? Or How We Got to Now. 6 Innovations That Made the Modern World from Stephen Johnson. There's actually a PBS show that's based on his book that's worth checking out. And surprise, surprise, the chapter that they were tasked with reading this week was the chapter on clean. How we took dirty, filthy cities and we made them livable. And along the way, and I know some of these kids are in the class going, I have no idea. I hear them talking. They don't think I hear them talking when they're sitting right next to me and they're talking to each other. Did you do the reading of the book? No, I don't even know why we're reading this book. This book doesn't make any sense. And so we have to explain to them, well, things when you are building a business, when you're building something new, when you're building a new technology, introducing a new idea into the world. It doesn't just take off overnight. Twitch TV didn't just spring out fully formed. It had to go through many iterations. We had to have the success and or failure of Justin TV. We had to have the rise and fall of YouTube. We had to have all these things that step by step build upon one another to get to where we are at right now. And so when we talk about, there was a chapter on sound where they talk about the earliest recordings of Thomas Edison and how that builds up over time to where we are today. And I always say, and I think now it's more important that we say this now more than ever, those who don't study history are doomed to repeat it. And so in addition to having them read this book, How Did We Get to Now, which is really good. It's a really short book. If you are old like me, you may remember a PBS, well, it wasn't a PBS show. I think it was a BBC documentary called Connections. Oh, I love this show when I was able to first see it in the 90s. I think there was a show that was originally done in the 70s. Oh, but Connections and then Connections 2 were two great shows that said, well, here's how we started building up on these innovations and here's how these things developed. And suddenly, we have rockets. What is entrepreneurial leadership? Entrepreneurial leadership is basically how can you be a leader, an innovator inside of your company. If you're someone that does not want to start your own company, what are the entrepreneurial skills that you can apply to working for someone like Sprint or Coleman or, I don't know, Kansas City Royals or many of the places that we have placed our students? I'm not sure what "and it repeats a lot" means. Is this course in the business school? It is in the business school, only because our department is in the College of Business. But regardless of whether it's a class about, I mean, it's a way of thinking class, right? It's a way to kind of develop that entrepreneurial spirit and that entrepreneurial mindset on how to become a success, how to fulfill your desires and needs, and how to launch a product or a business or an idea and take it to the finish line. Interesting thing is, the worst thing that colleges are doing right now is every college thinks that they have to be siloed away from every other college. And that is especially true in this day and age when we talk about entrepreneurship, where someone thinks that, oh, if we are going to be the school or the college of business that teaches entrepreneurship. And it's like, well, that's great, but are you teaching a class on specifically designed for art majors on how they should run their art business? Are you teaching a class for entrepreneurs on how they should develop and run successfully and the things that they need to think about if they're thinking about doing something like Twitch streaming, live streaming, podcasting, web streaming, running their own businesses in different fields? You know, when we're sending these kids out today, doesn't matter, English. Why are the English kids not taking at least a little bit of class, a class on basic business of entertainment? What a contract is, what an agent is, what are those roles and responsibilities? What are your roles and responsibilities? Those are things that should be taken care of in each college, in each department. And so our department has decided that, yes, we need to teach a class about technology innovations and entrepreneurial leadership. And so that's, you know, I guess I'm the most qualified one to teach in the department. I don't know. But so we've been talking about how do you get to now, and clean just happened to be the chapter. So I thought that that was a rather interesting concept and idea. But the thing we've been trying to get, and the thing that I've been trying to get the students to think about, is success. And more importantly, how do they define success? Because here's the problem. There is no such thing as an overnight success. Okay? There's no such thing as an overnight success. You know, some people, it's taken them, what's the phrase? It's taken me 30 years to become an overnight success. You know, until that person has achieved some kind of celebrity status, people do not think that that person is successful. And then when they finally spring on the scene and everyone's talking about them, oh, this person is an overnight success. No, this person has been working in writing books and painting and comics and whatever for 30 plus years. And people don't realize those kinds of things. So I've been trying to get into the mindset of these students. What does it mean to be successful? And we've looked at a lot of different, types of people who want to try to define success, or how do we get to success? How do you become successful? For example, Simon Sinek, in his 10 Rules for Success, talks about how you have to be patient, and that's something that, there's a lot of people who talk about success who try to emphasize that this takes time. And unfortunately, in our society of instant gratification, where everybody gets a YouTube account, everybody gets a Twitch account, everybody gets an Instagram, everybody gets a Twitter, and then suddenly they're disappointed when they have nobody following them, or they launch their podcast on the first day and they're already asking for people to go out and buy their merchandise. I don't think we didn't even start asking for Patreon, not Patreon money, but just even PayPal tips until about 2 or 3 years into, I want to say, something like that, into Major Spoilers. And the reason why you want to be patient is because you want to build up that brand. You want to build up that identity. You want to make people trust who you are. Because once people trust you and they trust your message and they trust that you're not leading them astray, you're not full of crap, that's when they start to come over. That's why we have so many people who are patrons right now. I'd love to see more of them. And I understand sometimes it's a financial thing. But the more people who trust you, the more willing that they are able to make those contributions to buy your product. Yes, Coach Wooden right here, or is it Wooden or Wooden? I was going to bring this quote up because this is an excellent quote from Coach John Wooden, who says, "Success is a peace of mind, which is a direct result of self-satisfaction and knowing you made the effort to do your best to become the best that you are capable of becoming." Or, to put it another way, I'm the best there is at what I do, right? I'm the best there is at what I do. You could even look at it from a Wolverine standpoint if you want. And so, we look and we talk about, going back to the instant gratification part, is that, man, I had a friend of mine whose son just started streaming. And was streaming a game that he's pretty good at. And he was devastated that he had 0 people watching him on the first day of his stream. And his dad had to have a talk with him and say, well, why would you be devastated? It's your first day of the stream. You didn't promote it. You didn't talk to anybody about it. You just sat there and streamed. You didn't build up any patter, so anybody that would have come in probably would have left right away. He pointed to me and said, well, what do you think how many views do you think Steven gets on a weekly show? Oh, and he was like, oh, he must get a couple thousand. No way. Not even close. I'll be happy if we have 20 people watch this show today. Oh, you're not late, Malone. But people have to be patient. It takes a long time to become quote-unquote successful. Also, you need to surround yourself with people who are going to push you. People who are going, what's the quote? Surround yourself with winners and you'll be a winner. Surround yourself with losers and you're going to be a loser. I think the biggest problem with a lot of these kids, because I actually had one of them email me outside of class. I should have brought the email with me. He was talking about how, I don't know what year he is. He may be a junior or senior. This is a 400 level class. And he's talking about how he really doesn't know what he wants to do with his life. He doesn't know what he wants to do when he graduates. And he was inspired by the first day when I came in and just said, here's all the things that I have done in my life. Here's where I've screwed up and here's where I've made right choices. And I talk with you guys a lot about this stuff, especially if you're a Gold VIP member, where we go into some business stuff behind the scenes each month during our VIP live chat for our Gold members and higher. I always enjoy those chats to let you know what's going on, what mistakes we've made, what I'm thinking about with Major Spoilers as a business. And so we've been spending this time talking about how do we get to now. And one of the things I had them do is kind of set some goals for themselves, kind of figure out what their what they're excited about, things that they're passionate about, things that they really want to explore, do, achieve, those kinds of things. And I think a lot of them are just glassy-eyed stare. And so they just turned in an assignment on how do you define success, right? How, this is a personal statement. You can't have other people define success for you, because I think a lot of people, and maybe not a lot of people, when you think about success for other people, I think you often look at money and things, right? Oh man, that guy drives a fancy car. He must be really successful. Or look at the jewelry on her. She must be really successful to be able to afford that. Or that person's got 10,000 followers. That person is successful. Or, that person just has a lot of YouTube followers. Must be successful. Or in the case of my youngest son, when we do here in about 45 minutes or so, we will do a Instagram, at Major Spoilers on Instagram. We'll do a weekly opening of a Lego minifigure. These are DC minifigures. You've got one right here. Here's Sinestro. And to him, if there are 64 people who like the image, to him, he's a viral sensation. If there are 64 people that like one of our Instagram posts, to him, that's a success. He's like, look, 64 people like this. It's a viral sensation. And that's fine, because everybody's going to define success differently. So I'm very interested in seeing how people define success. And I think one of the ways you can do that is starting with, as Cynic says, start with why. Why are you interested in doing this? Why are you passionate about this? Why are you excited about these kinds of things? Why is this important to you? And those are the things that can drive success. I don't know. Who really knows what they want to do at 21? I knew what I wanted to do at 10. I've talked about it before. I know a lot of people who get very excited about knowing what they want to do at certain ages. Sometimes it just clicks. I'm fortunate. I'm very, very fortunate enough that next week in the class, I'm going to Skype in Scott Johnson, and he's going to talk about his travels, his journey. I'm also going to have Tom Merritt come in, and virtually, of course, and talk about his journeys. And then I'm really trying to get Justin Robert Young, because he has just recently done something that when we talk about a lean startup, when we're starting about a business or a product or something in that lean startup model, I'll talk more about that another time maybe. At some point, you have to decide how you're going to pivot. And Justin Robert Young has just recently pivoted in the way he does his business and the way he builds his brand. And I want to bring students in. I want to have him come in and talk to students, but he's busy and on the road, right? I've got some other people too in the process, and I'm really interested in looking at people who others might consider a success, and then look at the journey that they have taken to get from where they were 20 years ago to where they are today. I was just watching a video on Joe Rogan. He was just, I guess, named Forbes magazine picks the most quote-unquote successful podcasters, right? And this is a money term thing. And they picked out Joe Rogan, so I was watching a guy, what is his name? I don't even have the video pulled up anymore. That broke down kind of where does Joe Rogan get all of his money. And he does point out a really important thing. Joe Rogan did have a past in acting. He did have a past in the Double Dare for Grown-Ups show, the Gross Out show. But he really didn't start in podcasting until he was 40. His YouTube streams, his daily and weekly streams didn't come out until he was 40, and he's in his 50s now. So he's done over a decade of streaming work to build up what some people would call successful based on money. So I went out today on Twitter and I asked you, how do you define success? Because success is going to be very different for everyone, as I mentioned. Like my son says, 64 people liking his Instagram photo that he took makes him a success. That's fine. That's great. So we've got one from Jonathan who says, being happy and being able to afford food, clothes, and shelter for you and those that depend on you. Stephanie says, enjoying what you do and being a person that is always kind. And then Steve says, the ability to say no without worrying about it. Those are some of the ways that people have defined success. So I wonder, how do you define success? People here in the chat. Oh, Xanthurus he says that's a huge portion of what I'm trying to do in my marketing and strategy course. Is new product development course. Yeah, it's not quite this. I mean, it's probably not quite the same thing, but I mean, it's kind of the same thing. If you're doing lean startup stuff, I think that's the exact same thing. Some conversation, somebody wanted to be Pope when they were 12, another wanted to be a forensic pathologist when they were 12. I bet your lives have taken a very different direction. Some people lock in and kind of know exactly what they want to do. I wanted to work in movies. I'm still working in media 40 years later. And I'm really enjoying it. Sitting down and talking with you guys every week gets me excited. Sitting down with you every week and sharing thoughts and ideas and getting feedback from you is exciting. Having a conversation with you makes me happy. So even though I don't know how many people are watching, I try not to put up those stats. But, you know, it's a success. If I get you guys to talk and chat amongst yourselves and engage with what we're saying on the show, then yes, heck yes. That's a good time. Sorry, my watch is going off. Had to double check and make sure what was going on there. Xanthurus, Xanthus Aries says, success for me is doing something that I find to be fulfilling and having time to spend with my family and friends. Well, there you go. I feel like I'm successful, says Marshall, because I got a job that allows me to take care of my family. Well, there you go. I really, really, really don't think that you need 1 billion followers. I don't think that, I mean, to be considered a success, I don't think that you need to be making tens of thousands or hundreds of millions of dollars a year to be successful. I was having this conversation with Matthew Peterson last night that I think that Major Spoilers is a success because we may not be the biggest. We may not always, I wouldn't even say we're the best, but we have cultivated a community of great individuals who are interested in our thoughts and our ideas about these topics in pop culture and want to share those ideas with us, want to share their ideas with us, and that we are open to that. And that we've kind of started to shy away from, and this is one of another cynic's goals to success, is being authentic. Shying away from doing all the rumor reporting, the 24-hour rumor reporting news cycle that every site does. To where I'm hoping that we are trustful, that we are trustworthy, and that we are a place that people want to come to for some accurate takes, some accurate information that you're probably not going to get from a lot that you may or may not get from other places. I'm not putting other places down because I know a lot of other people report truths as well. But they also report things like, oh, we heard that so-and-so is in talks to do this movie. And then 24 hours later, oh no, that person's not doing it. It is this person who is doing it. So I would consider that Major Spoilers continues to be a success. And the most important part of being a success, and this is the part I've had a conversation multiple times with my young son, is, number one, he's never going to stop learning. He wanted to know what happened after high school, if that meant you didn't have to go to school anymore. I said, well, you could, or you could go to college, you could get a master's degree, you get a PhD, you could go into a professional degree like a doctor, lawyer, etc. And so you're going to constantly learn. You're going to constantly learn even if you only stop at high school. You're going to learn every day. If you don't stop expanding your mind and stop growing. And even though I consider Major Spoilers right now a success, to an extent, to my terms of a success, I keep wanting to grow and keep wanting to do and keep wanting to go beyond that. So what is that? Never stop, never stopping? Is that what it is? Or never stopping, never? I don't know what it is. I didn't watch that movie. My daughter always wanted to work in childcare, and she's 18, and she's almost fully qualified. Great. Currently, I think success is having the family and friends around me that I can help support, and also being able to support the passion projects that I care about financially. There you go, Mark Smith. Alexi says, success has always been that my family is happy and healthy in a way that my dad brought me up. Never give up, never surrender. Sure, think of whatever catchphrase that gets you excited, gets you motivated to follow that dream, follow that idea, follow that thing that gets you excited, whether it be making something on a CNC router or a 3D printer or a resin printer, or, handcrafting it yourself with hammer and nails and all that stuff, whether that's writing a book or an article, whether that is, you know, starting your own podcast or stream or whatever it may be, or getting involved with someone who's already doing it. And that's the part where entrepreneurial leadership comes in, Xanthus, is that, you know, we teach this, that even though you may not be able to go out and start your own company or not be familiar with starting your own company, at least you have the ideas of what it takes so you can help the company that you're working with or the company that you're invested in grow. And maybe that's what you teach in your class. And if it is, that is really great. So there you go. I'm very curious on how people define success, what success means to different people, because success for many people means many different things. For some, it may be that I'm going to bilk the rubes out of their money every single day of my life, telling them that this way is to the egress. Maybe that's, and then tell them, oh, you don't want to look like a stupid rube. Don't tell anybody else. Maybe that's how you define success. So here are a couple of books that I'm going to recommend to you guys this week if you want to explore on this anymore. I'll put a link in the show notes. The one that I've talked about, the Simon Sinek book, is Start With Why, How Great Leaders Inspire Everyone to Take Action. This is from, I want to say, 2018. It comes in a variety of forms. Like I said, I will point a link to this in the browser. And then the other one is How We Got to Now, 6 Innovations That Made the Modern World. You can get this. I don't know. I think this is a reprint edition. I think there's another edition that you can get, a newer edition, but this is the one that I use in class. And as I said, if you are on Amazon, Amazon Prime member, there's actually a PBS show that you can watch as part of your Amazon Prime membership that you can check out this whole book in TV form if that is what strikes your fancy. So there you go. I don't know. Was this interesting to you? I know it's not a conversation about pop culture, but it's certainly a look back at the week that was and how different people define success. I hope you enjoyed this. I know I certainly enjoy coming out here every week and talking with you about what's going on. If you have any questions, you can always drop me an email at podcast@majorspoilers.com. You can follow us on all the follow things up there. Majorspoilers.com, Major Spoilers on Twitter, Major Spoilers right here on Twitch. If you would, subscribe if you haven't. Oh, and there is Kevin 11 dropping in with all the good stuff about how you can help us out and how you can join our Discord. And of course, we have our Patreon page at patreon.com/majorspoilers. Every little bit helps. In fact, if you buy those books, whether they be audiobook or paperback or Kindle version, whatever it may be, the links that I'm going to provide are affiliate links, so a little bit comes back our way. So hopefully you will expand your mind. And you'll be helping us out a little bit as well. Help us grow. You can also follow us on YouTube. That's where the replay of this takes place at youtube.com/majorspoilersvideo. And of course, we have a Facebook page that I don't really pay attention to. It's facebook.com/majorspoilers. I believe that's what it is. But you don't have to go over there because Facebook is evil. And I don't like Facebook. So there you go. Okay. Xanthus Aries. Does that kind of sound like things that you're teaching your kids in your class? Do I sound like I'm off the mark? Or does it sound like similar things that you're doing? I'm curious. I'm always curious when other instructors, because I have ideas. My ideas are not always the best. And I'll admit when I'm wrong on something, or I'm off on something. Very smiley, he says. You know, do a little emoji thing. I put a thing here that you guys can do an emoji and it'll pop up on screen. Old man going, oh, look at the new tools. Oh. Yeah, so you can do an emoji and it'll pop up. See, there it goes flying around the page. All right, that is where we're going to wrap it up this week. Thank you so much for checking us out. I don't know, throw me a topic over in the Discord if you want, in the Finally Friday Discord. And let me know what you guys want to talk about in the future, and I will try to schedule it, or if you want me to try to bring somebody on to talk, to do interviews. We haven't done interviews in a long time, but I think I've got this system worked out now to where I can bring people in without a problem. And we'll be back next time. So head over to the Discord. Kevin 11 already posted something there in the chat. Come hang out with us and let us know in the Finally Friday chat future topics that you want me to talk about or share or bring up or discuss. And we can do all of that. Tomorrow, I will be back 3 o'clock p.m. Central Time. That's Central Time. So adjust your clocks accordingly. I will be back to do a Major Spoilers Plays. I don't know what we're going to do this week. We'll find some fun game to play. And we'll play it live for a couple of hours and hang out with you and do more chats and all those other things But until then, I hope you have a great Friday. If you're not able to join us tomorrow, I hope you have a great Saturday. In fact, I hope you have a great rest of your weekend. And remember, do good, be good, and take care. Oh, thank you. You guys all have a great weekend. Thanks, Marshall. Thank you, Xanthus Aries, Kevin 11, Me Tuba, Me Played Trumpet. Oh, it's Ma Tuba. I gotta get my glasses adjusted. Sorry about that.